Well, it's been, see, May 3rd was the last time that I recorded. Um, and it's been a little over 2 weeks since I have actually hit the record button. I know I haven't posted and shared recently, but I have been sticking, at least trying to, except for the last 2 weeks. But prior to that, I was doing at least once a week. So I'm starting to notice that um, I may not, like I said, I may not post it right away, but I'm at least recording myself because I'm sitting with the emotions that I'm going through at that time because um, I'm still working in the sense of just not caring what any of you guys are thinking, if that makes sense. Like I am opening up some personal thoughts, and I mean, I'm opening up my life. Um, and I personally can't see everybody viewing this. So I battle internally as I'm, doing these to post it right away because I'm afraid that I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings because of the way I feel. Does that make sense? But after the time has passed, I was kind of noticing in some of those others, I was a little having some anxiety of facing or fearing that I may have said something to upset somebody, or and then as that time passed, I just am starting to realize and getting over that anxiety. It's like, it doesn't matter, Jen. You feel a certain way because you feel a certain way. I'm allowed to feel. I need to stop worrying about what everybody else is worried about and why they are worried about why I live my life this way or why I think this way, and just be me. I mean, we're all human. I mean, I'm to that point where I really was really just to the point where it's just like, I'm trying to just like, I don't give a fuck. I mean, and just blatantly just trying to keep it real. But I do because I care about the people that I've shared this with, and I love all of you, and I do, to a degree, do care. So you see what I mean? That's the battle I come with. So, anyways, I've just said, okay, well, I'm going to continue recording, um, because the 2 weeks that I didn't go, I've kind of noticing I'm starting to feel a little bit more tight, a little bit more overwhelmed, a little bit fragile, just a little bit more irritable in that sense. So I'm learning where I was like, okay, it's been a while. So I looked at my calendar and sure enough, I seen it said it's been over 2 weeks. So I need to record. So here I am. I decided to sit down and try to make time to record and talk because this is what's going to get me staying on my path and staying healthy, because anything that you are going through, if you don't have somebody necessarily to talk about it or vent to, just to get it out, that energy sticks in. It stays inside, and that's what causes my personal belief, y'all. But that's what causes the sicknesses that we all battle, whether whatever it is. Okay, everything is energy. I believe in that. Um, I also believe in manifestation, and so I've just been really trying to work on releasing the bad energy, the negative energy, and any energy that's thrown towards my way, because it does happen. Um, we like to judge people. We're humans, so people do judge other humans. When you get on and you read their social media or whatever it is, you're taking a judgment, whether you love it or you disagree with it or whatever. It's still a judgment, okay? So, um, any now when I look at life's, like when I see how my perspective has changed, and as far as like the judgment part, when I see people doing certain things that might raise an eyebrow, I'm not necessarily passing judgment on them. I'm just raising an eyebrow because I'm like, that's gonna hurt them. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like a common sense, common thing. Like if they're doing one thing, it's gonna end up hurting them. Okay, for like me, for an example, um, with my interest of uh um okay, let me explain. So for an example, taking me for an example, I did not release the hurt and the pain and the anger and the trauma that I had from a young girl, for being a young girl when I was molested and sexually abused. I didn't talk about it. I didn't share it. It wasn't um it was swept underneath the rug. And because of that, I led a life that was, I don't want to say it wasn't horrible, because my life was not horrible, but there was things that I've done in my life that, if I knew now, that whole saying, if you knew now what you knew back then. No, when I was younger, I'd always hear that. I'm like, oh, hardy har har. Yeah, of course, when you get older, you're going to become wiser. Like, why don't they just wake up and tell you right when you're born? Like, why are we all lying? Why is all this distraction happening? Why, like, that's what I'm saying. Why is society trying to distract us from living our lives? Society is saying you need to have children. Okay, so you gotta, get them into school. You gotta get them graduated. You know what I mean? There's all there's like check, 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 check. I did this. I did this. I did this. I did that. I did that. It's like, but wait, because society has told us to live that way, not because I physically had this child and I'm raising this child the way that I want. Maybe I don't want my child in school. Maybe I don't want to give my child vaccinations. Maybe I don't want to go, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see what I'm saying? Everything we do is controlled. You're controlled. If you're paying taxes, you're controlled. Yes, I understand. If you're in the city and, you're driving a car, you got to pay taxes for the road, blah, blah, blah. Okay, come on. Common sense, you guys. Let's think about this. We are living a life that is controlled. You're not living the life you truly, truly want. Because if you truly, what I want out of the city. I want out of the city. I want land, and I want my own space to provide my own food, to grow my own food. If I need the chickens and the cows for my extended people, then I would do that too. But because I'm vegan, I'm good with just plants. But hang on just a second. No, I think it was just BB playing around. Oh yeah, let me go back. Let me think. Oh, so talking about like what I ultimately would want, and like, but see, like now at this age, right? But when you're a kid and you dream about what you want to do and what you want to be, you don't not necessarily follow that and do that, right? Well, because why? Well, because other people have influences on your life, whether it's your mom, your dad, your grandparents, aunt, uncle, whoever it is. We're all influenced in a certain way and controlled to think a certain way, to do a certain thing. This is how you should live your life, right? We're all brainwashed to believe in that. We're all brainwashed to think that if we don't do this, then the consequences of this. You know what I'm saying? That we're all brainwashed in the fear, the anxiety of, I'm brainwashed in the fear and the anxiety of thinking you guys are going to think I'm this certain way because of what I'm speaking. Is what that's what I mean. It's just stupid. Yes, we should always be considerate and kind and caring for others and what they're going through. I always am. In general, I really am. But what? All right, let me just drop that subject for a second, as I got scrolled for a minute, okay? Because my mind went somewhere else. So that's where I was at with not wanting to post those prior ones that I just posted. Like, I posted like 3 of them. So then I noticed the 2 weeks that like I said, okay, that's where I'm going. Getting back on track here. So then the 2 weeks that I haven't recorded. Okay, so the 2 weeks, the last post that I shared with you guys, you obviously, you may have seen, not obviously, but you may have seen my struggles of the current situation that I'm in, that I have met somebody and we are, more than just friends. So we are friends with benefits, I guess. No, I take that back. We're more than friends with benefits. So we did talk. I let him listen to my last clip. I don't know if he's personally following this. I don't think so, to be quite frank. Because if he is, and he's not saying anything about watching them, pooey on you, because we could be talking and healing together. No, he's pretty cool, but I don't think he is on here. So, but I did let him listen before I even posted it. I just let him listen because that after that day, it was like 2 days, maybe a day later, um, we were hanging out and my little was gone. So I was able to share with him that clip and let him hear what I'm going through and what battles I face, or not that they're battles, but just things that I face. And so he listened to it, and we've had some good conversation. And like I said in a prior, I'm not trying to stop him from moving forward with his life and his goals. But I did talk to him and express to him where I'm at and how I feel in this sense of um, my children and protecting them, because I would be I'm not saying that I'm okay. I'm not that I would be completely okay, but like I think I could handle. I know I can handle, like enjoying his time now, enjoying our moment. This is our chapter. I can handle that, because if this is only our chapter and there's no more chapters to follow behind, then I know I'll be able to get over that and just know that I'll be able to enjoy and just appreciate all the moments that I have had. You know what I'm saying? Um, so we have talked, and he thanked me for sharing that with him because it gave him a better understanding of trying to understand, because he doesn't have kids. So without kids, you don't have an idea. And it's not necessarily that you don't have an idea. It's just some people are just, you know, not in that situation or ever been put in that situation to where they had to think about dating someone with kids and the attachment and whatnot and the confusion. So sharing that with him, he definitely said, look, like, we're definitely more than just friends with benefits. Like, he agrees. Um, and so since that, the last 2 weeks, we've just literally we've spent every day together. Like, he's, he's been, he started doing things and helping me do some things around, like, in a kind gesture, and I know like people do things because they care and they love. Well, so he started really doing stuff around here in the last 2 weeks. And like, I mean, really, like, I don't even know when, but okay, so I got my door. Did I tell you guys about the door yet? I've been wanting a barn door for which I've had curtains for 4 years on my room, and he made me a sliding barn door. And okay, here we go. And if I haven't showed you guys yet, here we go now. Focus. You see that? Isn't that cool? Oh, and the other side's just gonna be white. The other side's it's painted. It will be painted white, but it'll match on the flip side. So, but I love it. He made that for me, and I've been wanting that for 4 or 5 years or whatever, ever since I moved into this location. And yeah, I love it. He made it, and when he started doing that, I was just, and he wanted to design. He was like, "You have to have a mirror," because I just wanted a door, and he was all about making the mirror and personal. Like, I mean, that's all custom made. That's not, yeah. So, and I spent a lot of time with him doing that, and that was fun. And it was just awesome seeing him be crafty and make things with his own hands. And I'm the only one that has it. Sounds like Luga's barking for a second. They're trying to get back in, so let's take a quick walk to... Give me a second. It's so hot here. He thinks he's getting a treat. You ain't getting a treat. Go lay down. Oh, cat. Yeah, I forget what I was talking about. Imagine that. Oh, okay, so do all the stuff, that, the door. So he made that. Um, He is also the guy that completed the project that may have spoke about before, that I tried helping. Yes, I know, y'all. Anyways, he's done so many amazing things for me that I told him straight. I said, listen, I said, we need to talk. I said, just so you know, you are speaking my love language. I said, the things you do for me, you're speaking a love language of mine that I will fall in love with you. Like, I told him straight. I was just like, listen, acts of service is a huge, it's a love language of mine. There's 5 love languages. And if you guys don't know your love languages, there's a book that you could take a test or a quiz and you can find out which one you or your partner, anybody really, but if you're willing to sit down and take this test, it gives you a better understanding of how your love language is and how you receive love and what is better. And then it's really cool. I love it. I got it because learning other people's love languages, it's easier to understand and help love it and loving them, if that makes sense. So when I told him that, I was like, okay, so he did the door. What else did he do? Oh, my car. He's fixed my car. It needed new spark. It didn't need, but he was all like, he knows I'm getting ready to go on a trip. And he was like, hey, when's the last time you had the spark plugs done? When's the last time you did the oil? When's the last time you had this? Like, he wanted the fine tune up of everything. Even though prior to him, my mechanic, he's awesome. He's, like, anytime I ever have a issue with a car, I take it to him and he fixes it. He's great. However, the guy that I'm seeing him. We're dating. We're not together. We're not in a we're in a relationship. Like, you know what I mean? We're not like that. But we are what I would consider an unspoken commitment. Does that make sense? So, like, I'm digging him, and I mean, he says he's only digging on me and nobody else. So, to me, that's just like an unspoken commitment, and we're just vibing and enjoying each other's time. So, dating, seeing, but he's led me to believe, or told me that I'm is the only one now, and I don't question that because, like I said, we're together every single day and talk. I mean, yeah, I feel very, very comfortable. I feel at home with him. I know that's what, and I've told him this, like, I'm just literally trying to do so much better and just vocalizing and verbalizing my feelings and my emotions and what's going on in my life. Our thoughts tend to roll, and sometimes if we don't discuss or let go of those thoughts, they'll cause bigger issues, and then before you know it, you're creating your own anxiety and panic attacks and silly stuff. So we are in control, and that's just the thing. We are in control of ourselves. We really are. I know there's times that I have heard people say this and I literally felt so miserable and horrible because, it was like, well, if we're so in control of ourselves, why do I feel this way? Why can't I change it? It is hard, I understand, and I know that, because when you feel a certain way, you're just stuck in that feeling. You're stuck in feeling sad or depressed, or you're just, you know what I mean, alone. But we weren't taught to release. We weren't taught to let it go. It's okay to feel, but let it go. Don't hold it in. Don't feel like you're destined to be alone forever. Why dwell on something like that? You know what I mean? Like, don't. That's the thing about the thoughts and the energy and releasing and letting it go. You can still feel it for a second. Feel it, sit with that moment, be like, hey, I'm really sad today. It just fucking sucks. I don't know why I'm sad. You know what I mean? Like, feel it, think it out into your head, but then just be like, okay, well, this is why I'm sad. Well, that would make sense. You know what I mean? Or, like, if you just can't even grasp and be like, okay, well, I don't understand. Like, I did have a day where I woke up sad and I just couldn't figure it out. I was just like, not one particular thing. It could have been multiple things. It could have been the time frame too, because the universe is a huge playing part in how we feel physically and emotionally. As far as the solar, how we're rotating, that stuff, the stars, the alignment, the astrology part. Okay. Everything affects us in so many ways, and that's why I'm like, my perspective now, I'm at least alert, because prior to this awakening, my perspective was not open to everything that I'm open to. Okay, I had a conversation the other day, and that conversation with the other day was with somebody. It was like I was in the Twilight Zone. Like, they were just looked at me like I literally was speaking truth, and and they were just like looking at me like I was just like, they were just so far gone, caught up in the brainwashing and the media. Like, I'm telling y'all, like, it's so sad when I see it, because I see it and I'm like, God, I love that person, or I love everyone. I love that person. And I only wish but happiness and health and good for them. And then I have to tell myself, they're still stuck in that lifestyle of living in their pain and trauma. I don't know how else to say it. Some people don't realize. I didn't know, guys. I didn't know I was living in my pain and trauma. I didn't know. I didn't. My mom, back when I was growing up, and some things that I've gone through, my mom has offered multiple times to put me into therapy. And I will tell you, I know for a fact I had said no, because I think I maybe went to therapy. I've been in therapy in and out of my life, okay? And I've shared this before, because I've already had like three counselors, therapists tell me basically, because I start talking like, oh, well, y'all got it figured out. And it's just like, well, great. Thanks for making me feel like I just got it figured out and I'm perfectly fine and I don't need no help. But anyways, it's not like that. Therapy is good. You need therapy. It is important to speak what you have going on. So if you can't afford it to go sit in an office and speak to somebody, to some complete stranger that all you're ever going to do is see them sitting in the office, most likely, right? And 9 times out of 10, and that's just from my experience, 9 times out of 10, they're not very helpful, in the sense of I've never had like homework. I've never had like, it was just me. That's what I'm saying. Therapy is all about you and what you are doing. You are the person, not your doctor, not your therapist. It's not them. It's you. You are the one that sits and go through what you're going through. Like, you are the one healing yourself. And I believe that. I'm healing myself. I am healing myself. Releasing stuff that has been stuck, and it's time to release it. And I look back and I'm like, well, no wonder why I had the health that I had. No wonder, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to sit there and be like, I had a jacked up life or this. Like, I love my life. Don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful and very blessed and very loved. And I do look at my life, and I have been through a wild roller coaster. I know others have been through a lot wilder, and I'm not dismissing anything of that, okay? I am just saying that the shit that I went through, I was in survivor mode. I didn't get a fair chance as many did. And that's okay. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I'm just speaking how the truth. This is the truth. Any child, any human being, typically children, because when you're children, you're sponge, your brain, okay, that's when it soaks everything up, okay. So when something bad and traumatic happens to you, and it may not even you okay. Let's talk about this. I'm gonna get not too detailed, but a little bit. But let's talk about this, okay? When you're 6 years old and a grown-ass man touches you in a private area that no one's ever really touched you, like literally, like even wiping, you know what I mean? Like, you didn't remember my parents ever wiping, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you guys ever remember, oh yeah, I remember my mom and dad changing my diaper, or I remember them changing, or the bath. Like, these are core, those are things that you remember, core memories, right? Okay. Did any of you, and if you did, it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay, but if you did, hey, let's talk, because you may be not vibing, but you may be feeling the same things that I'm feeling, and maybe we can help each other. But when I was 6 years old and I was touched by a grown ass man, an adult, I was 6. I was scared. I didn't know it was right or wrong, but I was scared. I remember I'm feeling that right now. I'm remembering that moment of how it was like I was really scared. I was very scared because I didn't know. That was wrong. That was, a little young girl, that's wrong. So in that, when I was going through that, here's another thing that I did when I was younger. Wow, that is so weird. That is so weird. Y'all just seen that happen in my head. You may have not, but you just seen the outside of part of it. So when that happened, I remember, now that I think about it, oh wow. That literally, I thought of other stuff. I thought of other stuff. When that stuff was happening, I took myself somewhere else. Wow. I wasn't there. I was there. But because my mind was so young and so scared, I think I blacked out. I think I went somewhere else. I went somewhere else. God, see, that's what I'm saying. I became in this survivor mode, that I was this young little 6-year-old girl that, I've been fighting the majority of my life in survivor mode. All I've ever known is to survive. I'm not saying, please don't ever, I don't ever dismiss anyone else's survival and like what they've been through. But I just know, and I'm not trying to compare myself, but I just know, because I have been doing reading and studying, that I actually made a TikTok about it. There's this thing, and there's a list of things like that'll ask, like, if you've been if you do drugs at a certain age, or if you've been molested at a certain age, or it's like a checklist by a certain amount of age or whatever. And I had went through it, and I had 5 checks of that list, and it said that if you had 4 or more, that you were considered to be, I forget what the verb was. I'll have to look. I might be able to share that TikTok on this thing. I might share it just to see, or share it with you guys. But it it definitely hit when I was listening to it, because it was like, it is true that I was in survivor mode and all the stuff that I went through. Caden's coming down. All right. She may come back in and whatnot. We'll see. But anyways, I was in survivor mode. And that's the majority of the life that I had to live, because at a young age, I had to, and when that happens to a young child's brain, it is, it's PTSD. It just doesn't go away. So it's stuff that you have to heal through. And through all those years, I wasn't healing. I just kept on stacking more pain on top of more pain, more trauma on top of more trauma. And I talked a few times to therapy here and there, and other times not so much. Other times I just felt like it was a waste of my time, or like I wasn't connecting or vibing with that therapist. And so therefore I just didn't want to go back. Didn't meet my expectations. And then I felt like it was supposed to be pushed up underneath the rug anyways, that it wasn't supposed to be spoken about. That was my life. That's how I was raised. That's, how my parents were raised as well. And I'm not saying what they did was completely wrong. That's just all they knew. I sit and I think about like how I would like to try and do things differently. But sometimes, unfortunately, when you want to try to do something differently, but if you only know one certain way because it was taught to you this way, you know what I'm saying? So you're like, okay, how did the challenge of trying to do this with taking this factor out? It's a little challenge, but it is very capable of happening. So What else was I gonna say? I don't know. Let's see what Kaden has to say. She may come and say good morning. We'll see. I'm recording. It's sometimes challenging to do this when the house is full and the house is small, to where like you can hear, which I don't mind. I am not shy in the sense of wanting my children to know how I'm feeling or whatnot, you know what I mean? But this is one huge reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want them to be able to know what's going on and whatnot. But I also too know, well, that's not going to help, but thanks. It's just like in the moment of like doing it at the moment while they're here, interrupting their time, or if they hear something, a side of the story that may be like, wait, what? You know what I mean? So I only want them to hear it and go through this of when they're ready. Okay, it looks like I have a call coming in, so I will go ahead and jump off here for now. Plus, she's up and I don't want to make it awkward for her. So I will jump on at another time and continue on. I guess it continued on reading. You in here? I don't know why she shut my door. That's just the thing. Why shut my door if I'm not going to be in here or downstairs? What are you doing, bud?
Getting water.
Oh. All right, I'm just going to jump off because I'm not going to be able to finish what I want to finish. That's just what happens. You don't get your own privacy. Guess you just got to get up butt crack of dawn and try to get it done. It is what it is. All right. I hope all is doing well. Continue on, care, and love each other. And yeah, I'm going to try to get back into healing. That's a little frustrating, and it's not your fault. I mean, it's not her fault at all, but it is frustrating when you're trying to do something and you get interrupted, and that's just frustrating because I have a dog, two cats, two kids. It's constant interruptions. That's the challenge. That's the distractions. Those are distractions. That's what life is about, is distractions. Anyways, yeah, just frustrating. And she has, and she does, like, I'm not mad at you, sweetie. It's just frustration. As a human being, we all try to do better for ourselves, and you know what I mean? And I'm just trying to stay focused on my healing, and it's hard. It's hard to have my space completely without being interrupted. Yeah, it's hard, but it's a part of life. So because I don't know where or what I was talking about, I was going to jump off, but she went ahead and went back upstairs. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll talk a little bit longer. I forget what I was talking about. Something along the lines of... I don't know where I left off. But going back, of things happening at a young age in survivor mode. I've lived that. And so with knowing that stuff, I have been trying to do better for my children. Matter of fact, for Mother's Day, I asked, Kaden texted me and she had said, Happy Mother's Day, love you, blah, blah, whole spiel or whatnot. And my reply back to her was that, thank you. I don't expect you to get me anything. Like, I don't want objects. I don't want things. If anything, I would want for her to heal for anything that I have ever done to hurt her, or cause her some sort of pain or trauma or some sort of memory that she needs. You know what I mean? Like, if there was something I said or did or been a part of, I want to fix it. I want her to know that I own it and I'm sorry, because that was an unhealed version of me. And I'm not making any excuses. But she, I know she didn't have a full easy ride for the time that I was struggling hard. We all live with our trauma and our pains. We take it off on our take it on our offspring, if that makes sense. Like, not that we purposely do it, but just like because of the short temperedness of the behavior, your mood, you know what I mean, like that stuff. So I told her that I would like, if anything, that would be the Mother's Day gift that I would want, is to sit and heal and fix what I need to fix for her. Because you are your parents' disaster or mess. I don't know how else to say it, like, in the sense, okay, so like my mom and dad, my mom. My mom lived one certain life, my dad lived a certain life. They were both raised two different ways. Two separate lifestyles. My mom was raised a certain way, and so this lifestyle she was raised, this is how she was able to take her and integrate it into her children. Okay, I will say my mom, and I could be completely wrong, but my mom had less of a traumatic childhood as to opposed to my father. As my father, his childhood was a lot more abusive, a lot more aggressive. My grandparents were very, very old school, very, just military lifestyle, firm, strict. I say it once, you do it type thing. That's how my dad was raised. And so therefore that's the lifestyle. I had two different two different parents coming in to raise my brother and I. And so we have these two different backgrounds. So you have, someone as myself, and then this is how I see it. So I got the parts of the struggle. I have the struggling parts of the trauma and the pain that when my father, he didn't realize, he didn't know, no one has the book of how to be a parent, right? But he's doing the best that he could be as a father. And he did the best that he could, and so as he was raising us and providing what he could, that's what he did. He was able to provide that. And so because of his past and everything he went through from a child and growing up, okay, from his parents to everything he's gone through, his lifestyle, the military, all that, okay, that combined in all that pain and anger and trauma was raising me and my brother, and it gets pushed off onto us. And he didn't know that, I didn't know that, like, my pain and my trauma was pushed off onto my girls. Like, that's what I'm saying. We don't realize we are doing this to each other. You don't until you wake up, and until like now, I'm changing this cycle. I promise you, I'm changing this cycle. And I'm going to tell you why. And I've already have, because Kaden, she's changing the cycle. We are changing this cycle in this family, because I refuse to continue living life with trauma and pain. because I may have expectations of my parents, of my mom and my dad, but I let them go now. I may have a want or a need or a desire that I may want from my mom or my dad, but I let it go now because I have to look at myself and be like, my dad or my mom cannot provide a certain want, desire, or need unless, one, I communicate it to them and tell them this is what I need, or the expectations, if it's just automatically met. That's the only way that I'm ever going to get it, right? Because you can't just expect someone and be like, I need you to be a certain way. I need you to be my mom. I need you to be my dad. I need this from you. They don't know. They don't know. No one is there. The only way they're going to know is if you actually communicate it and say, hey, I really could use a father. I really could use a mom right now. Whatever it is, like, communication is key. But again, we lack communication. And so because of that, we tend to push that pain and trauma off on other people, and we break our own expectations. We hurt ourselves because we have those expectations inside. So going back to releasing all that pain and trauma, like, okay, so when I think about all that, you got your mom, your dad, and sometimes, it may not even necessarily be your mom and dad. It may be whoever it is that's raising you, whatever kind of life, wherever your life is at. Look in your surroundings. Think about the people around you and who's raising you or who did raise you, okay? Let's talk about it. What did they go through? Everyone's so quick to point the finger and say, you did this wrong, you did that right, da-da-da, you, point, right? Why? Let's ask why they did it. Why? Some people don't know why. But I'm going to tell you this. My why has opened up completely differently, and my mind thought process has been like, anytime I see somebody now in this chapter in my life and I have a certain expectation, or I see something where it's like, that's not a wise choice. Like, literally, the consequences after that choice. You know what's going to happen. Like, you see it, it's going to happen, but you still make that choice. You still do it. It's like that. You keep doing, that lesson. It'll keep on being replayed over and over until you learn your lesson. Oh, it's true. So releasing all that pain and trauma onto our children, our offspring, when we don't realize it, because you're irritable, your irritability, your everything that's inside, that's what's causing your irritability, all of that, right? Your shortness, it's not fun. Hang on. Give me a second. I got squirreled. Understanding and having just the expectations of my parents. I may have an expectation, or I may feel a certain way and it may not be met. Well, one, I didn't communicate that necessarily to either of what I wanted of my mom or my dad. So if I can't communicate it, then that's on me. That's my fault. It's not their fault. So I'm mature enough, and I shouldn't say mature enough because I'm awakened enough to realize that my parents have been through their own pain and trauma, that they gave the best that they could at all they knew how to do. That's it. But I can't be upset because I didn't get raised this certain way, or I didn't do that, or this person, like, I see so many people pointing the fingers and whatnot, and it's like, no, I'm owning my shit. Like, I'm upset. Yeah, it hurts that unfortunately, my parents were divorced when I was in first grade. Yeah, it sucks that I was sexually abused when I was 6 years old. Yeah, it sucks that I can keep on going. I can keep on going on my list of raising. I'm just staying within my childhood right now. You know what I mean? But I can keep on raising that of what sucks, Stay in the suck and sulk in it, or feel it, then let it go. Feel the emotion and then let it go. Let it go. let it go. We don't have to stay stuck into the simple fact that, well, I didn't get this from my mom. So if I didn't get this from my mom, I am a piece of, it's all her fault. She didn't give me this. Why is it her fault? She didn't give me that. Let's talk about it. You ready, Mom? I'm not mad, and I love you, and it's okay. But let's talk about it. What didn't I get from Mom? What didn't I get from Dad? It happens in every family. There's some things that you don't get. But I didn't get a certain kind of love that I thought, like now, that I would want, that I wanted. Like, you see, have you ever looked back and you're like, man, I wish I would have had that growing up. Or I wish I was closer. Or I wish this was that. That's what I wanted my mom. I wanted to be closer to my mom. I wanted to hug more. I wanted her to, I guess you could say, I wanted, my expectations, I wanted to feel cradled and loved more and whatnot. My mom couldn't provide that for me. She didn't have that within herself. And how could she provide that when she may have not had it her life growing up? And I have seen that. I see that. I know, I see the downline. Like my grandparents and then her siblings, and you know what I'm saying? Like it goes down the line. Like it literally, and so that's something that I want to change. Like I've tried to, like with, that's one thing when I first had my oldest that I noticed that some people are a certain way and some people are not, and that's fine. But like me, like, okay, being in the massage therapy world and touch, I love hug. Like when I hug, I don't know if any of you guys, like, I want to hug you and I want to hold you for a good 20 to 30 seconds. I want those endorphins to release. I want you to feel that you are loved and you are special, and that just to feel your human body is just like, oh, like I love it. I don't remember that growing up with my parents. I'm not saying that they didn't hug me, because I mean, I do remember hugs, like quick hugs, like goodbye hugs, but like hanging out on the couch, watching a movie hugs and snuggles, I didn't get that. And that's okay. I didn't get that because I'm like, but how can she or he, both of my parents, either way, provide that for me when they didn't have that? Does that make sense? Like, sometimes you get stuck living off somebody else's thought process of how a father or daddy or mommy or mother should be. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just get so stuck in that. And so I was stuck in my expectations of, having an expectation. See, like some, like the expectation of a mother should be caring and loving and coddling and whatnot. I'm not saying my mom wasn't, because she was very loving. She did care. She took care of us. Don't get me wrong in that sense. Like, I don't dismiss you in that matter, Mom. I'm just saying, like, you weren't very touchy-feely. You weren't very huggy. You weren't, I don't remember those. So if you were, then I forget and I forgot. And I'm not saying that I'm in the wrong for forgetting, because obviously the trauma stuff that's happened to me you can forget stuff. So I will say that I do not remember snuggling and being coddled by my mom or my dad in the sense of being, I honestly, I think I felt more lovey-dovey towards my dad. Like physical touch and hugs and kisses. Like, cause like now, like if I was to go see my dad, I'm going to give him a hug and a kiss. Like, that's just me. Now my mom, and I mean, I know we see each other a lot because we live closer, but I'll be honest with you, I can't even tell you the last time I gave my mom a hug. Ketchup's passing. So that was back in October. And I see her quite often. We live 10 minutes apart. You see what I'm saying? And that's okay. But like, I'm not upset with that, Mom. Like, I mean, I know some people have that and some people don't, and that's okay. But my question is like, So then why? Why is it like that? Like, what happened? Was there something that happened that made you like that? Or I understand your parents may be like that. Then why? What happened to them to make them like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you see how the generation, like, nothing's wrong with your parents. Like, I love grandma and grandpa to death. Like, they were awesome, but mom sweeping the stuff underneath the rug and certain things, not speaking about it, that's a part of my trauma and my pain. And so I just like, it just is like, what happened? Like, it's stuff like that we all forget. And so my perspective is like, when I start thinking, about certain things or expectations of my mom or my dad, I'm just like, let it go, Jen. Don't have that expectation. Let it go. They're human too. They had a life before you that I'm not their responsibility. I'm a grown ass adult. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, that's where I'm at. That's what's going on, y'all. Mom, Dad, I do not do this to make you guys feel any sort of way. I am doing this to heal myself because there's so much pain and trauma that has been built up years. And I'm just trying to heal myself. I want my kids, my girls, to be happy and healed. I don't want them to be my age. Trying to figure it out. Trying to be like, wow, why did I live all this life? Why do we let others like try to figure it out? Like, why do we wait so long? Now that I'm at this point, I'm like, no, I want my children to know, like, I'm sorry I did this to you. I'm sorry. Let me fix this now. Let me own my stuff. I don't want them to feel that way. Because I now realize that my pain that I came from was the reason and resulted into why I acted a certain way and did certain things. And I'm not saying I'm a horrible person, but there are things that I did that no one should do. But yeah. I don't mean to do that on here. So am just trying to heal myself and be better for myself so I can be better for my kids, because I don't want them here where I'm at this age, just having the, why did I take so long? Now, I will say that I'm just blessed and thankful that I've had this eye-opening, awakening experience, or whatever you want to call it, because I'm hopefully able to try to get on track to help my children heal and stay on their healing journey, because your healing never stops. It's throughout your life. You get to heal every season. You get to, every day you should be learning a lesson. And I'm not saying like, oh, what did you learn today? It could have been something like, shut the toilet lid. That's what I learned. You know what I mean? Or it could have been as simple as turn the water off. That was a lesson I learned. It's something like that. Or the lesson I learned, slow down, take a deep breath. Or, another lesson you can learn, if you saw somebody else in a very frantic and upset, irate mood and they acted boisterous and flamboyant or whatever, instead of looking at them and judging them, oh, you're such a, why would you do this? Da-da-da. Just be like, oh, send them good vibes. Be like, I wish you healing. And even if it's internally, if you want to do it internal or say it out loud, be like, I wish you healing and happiness. Right? We all just want to be wishing, like, hurt and not pain, but we always want to judge and talk crap on people. And it's like, God, we need to change our ways. Society needs to brainwash us to think more positive. Really. The brainwashing is so ridiculous that it's the distractions. And I'm telling you, the distractions are everywhere. If y'all don't believe me, y'all believe me. I know you. Distractions are everywhere. Life is a distraction. Not life, but things in are distractions. You get to control what you have as a distraction. You really do. So, all right. I really am going to jump off now. 54. Okay. Real quick before I do jump off, the friend, we're more than friends. I think we already discussed this. I will say I did speak to my youngest about him because I did want to mention that. I sat with her, and because she called me out, honestly, because she was just like, I feel like you and so are more than just friends. And I said, well, you would probably be right. So she did call me out, and I talked to her, and I had said, let's talk about that. And she said, okay. And I said, how would you feel if mommy, was to date somebody and not necessarily be like in a relationship, so I had to explain it to her in the sense of like a friend, a dating friend, like, somebody I can hang out with and have activities with, but not necessarily does this person mean that they are for sure 100% going to be in our family and this is going to be our life. And you know what I'm saying? So that's how I kind of explained it to her. And she grasped, and I think she grasped it and understood it a little bit, because she was like, yeah, it's okay. Like, I mean, you can date. She goes, I just have to approve of the person, which, I mean, that's typical 8-year-old response. So I said, well, of course. And she said she approves of him and she really does like him. And I will say I think he might be very careful with interacting, because he may not know he has expressed he doesn't have kids, so he doesn't know what or how or expectations from me or whatnot. Like, he doesn't want to tread on anything. He's very helpful and beneficial. I mean, he's helped with Kaden with her car. I mean, she likes him. They are able to chit chat and whatnot. And then Stevie, like, everything's fine. I just wanted her to have an understanding that, and this is a now situation. It may not necessarily be a future situation. And I just didn't want her to get so attached. And so I talked to her and I explained it, and she said, I understand. And I said, okay, and so when he's over here, she likes to hang out with us, and she just wants to hang. Like, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? This girl wants some Mel, like that father figure interaction. You know what I mean? And so that's something that I want to be able to talk to her about. And you know what I mean? It's like, well, that last clip I was stressing and worried about, how do I do this? Do I do it? Do I pull it off? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to. I decided I don't want to call it off. Like, I dig him, and I've just learned to accept that, just because my life may not be what society thinks it needs to be, I'm not going to live what society thinks I need to do or be. I need to live my life the way I'm living my life. And my life is exactly what's going on right now, is I'm dating a guy that there is, at this moment, there's not an end result for him and I in the sense of like that. But we're dating, we're enjoying each other's company, and we it's great, it's fun, and it's fine, everything's fine right now. So I'm just going to try my best not to let it eat at me, and because it's something that I can't control, in the sense I can't control his thought process, I can't control her thought process. All I can do is control mine and try to do the best that I can and not create anxiety or that panic in thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, we tend to overthink and do stuff. And so anyways, I am just trying to encourage my children and him, all of us, just anybody around me, just to communicate. Communication is key. I know it's hard sometimes, but it is key. And yeah, so that's just where I'm at. All right, I really am going to jump off here. So, anyways, that's a little bit of the catch up. Not much. There's not much catch up, but from 2 weeks ago, that's where I'm at. So, I'm going to try to continue on and stay consistent, whether it be once a week or once every other week, whatever it is that I'm going to try. But I have been distracted, but it's good distractions. He's not a bad guy, so y'all keep sending that good juju and that love for me, and I will do the same for each and every single one of you. Thank you again for being here on my wild, crazy journey. No, it's not wild. It is wild and crazy. It is so fun, too. I love my life. I really do. I do. I'm blessed. So blessed. Any of you. To each and every single one of you, but most importantly, to myself, I love.